Anyway, I know a lot of people, they like my ride and talks, but I have to admit, I've been so busy lately, I haven't been able to take care of something I really need to. And this is my yard. My side yard is like a horror story. Look at this place. There's stuff everywhere. Stuff left over from jobs that I did, windows that I've taken out, wood, demolition debris, and so on. Now, this whole trailer was full of garbage, but I've thrown it all out, and now I'm just down to a few things I need to get rid of. These are from appliances that I was hauling off. This is actually an old Maytag washing machine, which is the same as mine. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart and keep these parts. It's in relatively good shape. The base is not rusted out. Cabinet was in good shape. This is a different cabinet. This is probably scrap. That's part of a Maytag, that's scrap. There's one of the air conditioners that I took out. That's scrap. These are still the bumpers from my mom's old car that I stripped. I want to get this apart because I saved some of the hardware, and actually, believe it or not, I use chemicals to strip off some of that chrome layer. It's very thin, but I do like to keep it because I do a little bit of my own amateur chrome plating. So we'll do that, and then that will be scrapped as well because it's nothing but rust. Here's some roofing paper left over from one of the repair jobs that a friend of mine did, and I'll be using it to fix my roof, which is a complete mess. As you can see, part of it has a tarp, part of it is just in poor shape. I've done some repairs in the past, and they've held up pretty well, but you can see over here we got a new leak. This is rotted. I was working on the other side. Some of this old Dutch lath siding, it's all in good shape on this side, but it does have some damage where the paint has come off. That needs to be cleaned. And again, I got to get rid of all this junk. I have some rolls of fencing from another job that I did when I was working with my friend that does fence work, and you can see kitchen sink, and there's just stuff that I accumulate from every job that I do, and it piles up. I have this piece of plywood. I don't even know why I kept it. Oh, I think I do. Yeah, that could probably be used for the soffit on the overhang. So I want to do something with that before it turns to garbage and ends up being thrown away. So, then you got vacuum cleaners. There's all kinds of crap. It's just one of those things. That's a hubcap that fell off my van. I picked it up from the side of the road. These are the chain binders I use to hold the Bobcat down. But I haven't used the Bobcat in a long time because my truck's been broken. If you look at the deck of my trailer, you'll see that it is wood, but it's in relatively good shape. Now, when I first had this trailer, it had a bunch of debris thrown on top of it. It was in pretty rough shape, but I pressure cleaned it, and I've been treating it with the cheapest treatment possible. No, not some fancy wood seal, not some silicone coating, basically used motor oil. All the used oil from my truck and Bobcat end up on this trailer. And even though this trailer's been sitting here for months, you can see the wood is still solid. I have had wood that rotted out when I got it. You can see this piece over here that I replaced, but that's holding up well too. And a lot of the wood that I use has actually been wood left over from jobs, sort of like this. Now, I could simply throw all this away, scrap all this. I mean, these windows are basically scrap, but they need to be stripped so that I can get the aluminum out of them. And generally with aluminum, I don't even bother to go to scrap yards because I find scrap yards to be sort of low life. I don't know. I don't like scrap yards. The people that run them try to cheat you. There's a radiator from a job that I did. So I'm going to gather up all of the aluminum, and then I am going to put that into the big iron pipe. And using used motor oil, I'm going to melt all that down into aluminum ingots, which I keep for future projects. If I need to do some cast aluminum or even some basic extrusions, it's nice to have it there. There's also pieces of a popcorn machine, which you can't really see, But this came from another cookout. Here's the, it was a gold medal popcorn machine that somebody stripped and left outside. So it's basically junk. So we'll be scrapping the aluminum in that as well. All right. Anyway, so this is my side yard, as bad as it is. And you've probably seen the gate. Let me see here. Okay, so we'll just climb on down the trailer. And you can see over here some of the other goodies around my yard. You've seen this in some of my older videos. My payphone, with phone books, of course, which has seen better days. I haven't been able to get a phone book here for at least 10 years. I guess if I want a phone book, I'll have to print my own. But anyway, I got a fly buzzing around my head. That's not good. And you can see over here, I've got my little hanging plant with my gate covered in shade cloth to help hide what's going on here. Don't want the neighbors knowing how much junk is back there. And also, speaking of leftovers, you can see over here, here is some stucco mesh that was left over from another job. And again, rather than throwing this away, I can use this to make repairs to my own home. This garage door was actually built out of scrap about 25 years ago. This was from a roofing job, and then some 1.5-inch square tubing that we used to make a screen. So whatever's left over, I do put it to use. Now over here, you can see at my window, this is where I keep my bicycles. Again, probably not the best thing to do, but since my garage is way too cluttered, I just hang them up here. I don't have trouble with people stealing stuff because, as you can see, my yard is basically a jungle. And I do have some cameras attached, which you may have seen on my live stream, but it's, you know, more junk on the patio. Again, I got to go through this mess. I've got this rear end that I took out of my mom's old car. Here's a water pump that I changed, and I need to see if it's any good or I'm going to scrap it. Also a light fixture. This stuff just accumulates. This table saw is the one I found down the street a while ago. Anyway, here's my tropical oregano doing really well. Now, since I use my front yard as sort of a work area, I have all this material that I cut from the branches that fell down in the storm, and I'm going to grind them up using the lawnmower, which is typically the way that I do it. One thing I'd like to do is to clear a walkway or a work area through my banana patch. Now, as you can see, we have banana plant growing here. We have one growing here. If I could clear a 5-foot wide space, I would be able to bring the Bobcat through here. That way, when I go to put the engine in my truck, all I have to do is push the truck out this way a little bit, and I'll have enough room in my tiny yard where I could get over here. Now, the spare engine is in the garage, and once I get it fixed up, I want to take this out of the garage and over to the other side of the house. Normally, I have to move the truck and the van and move everything out in the street, move everything around. But if I can clear this spot, I could do it right here. And what that's going to involve is removing this Piper Sanctum plant, which is taking over anyway, this coconut tree, this little bit of fence that's here, which is kind of a nuisance, and then this rather healthy looking banana plant. So what I'm probably going to do is take the bucket or forks and pick this thing up. And I'm thinking of moving it off to the side, maybe over here. And then this one, which is a different variety, and it's been sort of growing and thriving back and forth, but there's too much shade here. Thinking of moving it over there where the barbecue grill is. That'll separate it out. This one is more adversely affected by soil conditions, so therefore it doesn't thrive like these do. These have come back from sort of a decline. Now you can see that the sprouts are coming up strong, like this one over here. But again, I just need to remove this one, and I need to remove that one. And I'll move this over. This one will go to another location. This cluster, what they call the little manzanillo bananas, is doing really, really well. It's actually surprisingly healthy. And of course over here, poinciana in a pot. It looks like it's taken root in the ground, but this is a spot I want to put the new banana plant. Start another cluster over here. I think that would be ideal. Now, over here, I've got my potted plants. This tropical nut, I forgot the name of it, and I have not been able to identify it. I have two very large trees like that. And you can see my Everglades tomato. It's still growing. Oh, there it is right here. See? That's the Everglades tomato. It's got the little tiny tomatoes on it. Been collecting those for seeds. We have some other plants. There's banana plant, amaryllis. And over here is one plant which you may not